Howdy all, this is Texas Gaming Industries here, and welcome back to another episode of my Let's Play of Transport Fever 2. In the previous episode, we headed up to Russia to help build the Trans-Siberian Railway for Tsar Nicolas II. Although we got the railway done, we weren't able to help the Russians fight against the Japanese. But the railway was built nonetheless, so I guess that's a bit of an achievement. But in this episode, we are heading back to the campaign for the final mission of Era 1. As you may notice, my continue section has the TGI TPF2 USA free mode. That's because I basically created a new map with new mods. So basically, I was testing that map out to see if it was good enough for that free mode game that we'll eventually do after we're done with the campaign. But speaking of campaign, let's head to campaign and see what our final mission of Era 1 has to offer.
Mankind is constantly creating amazing new inventions. It's the dawning of the 20th century. The major powers of Europe are in the process of divvying up the last fragments of the world map among themselves. At long last, the German Empire wants a place where it can bask in the limelight too. It sees its chance along the Bosporus, where temperamental Sultan Abdul Hamid II rules over a vast territory. Time for the Germans to secure the biggest infrastructure project in all of Asia Minor.
And by project, the construction of the Baghdad Railway, a little railway connecting to the ancient city of Istanbul in Turkey. As you may notice, our bonus tasks are locked except for this one. I did a pre-recorded video, but that recording didn't seem good to me, so that's still open. But other than that, let's head down to the Middle East and help Germany build one of the greatest railway projects in the beginning of the 1900s.
The legendary Orient. The kingdom of 1,001 nights. Where milk and honey flow. The Baghdad Railway is the key to the Orient. It will give the German Empire access to valuable resources. The railroad project is going to be financed by Deutsche Bank, a German bank. You're supposed to make sure that nothing fishy goes on site. A railroad from Baghdad to Istanbul, brought into being via sound German engineering skill. A bold venture. As long as the project doesn't make a profit, the Sultan has offered to offset any losses with his tax revenues. Needless to say, one is only too glad to help local agriculture increase its earnings. Make sure that grain production develops beneficially. At the same time, it guarantees funding for the Baghdad Railway. Thanks to your logistics support, food production is soon going to gain momentum.
Other than that, though, welcome to the Middle East. As you can basically see, we have quite a large territory, bigger than the other maps that we played on. And you may have noticed in the intro video, we basically now have European vehicles in desert landscapes. Now this is going to be a bit of a thing in this campaigns, of vehicles from one part of the world mixing in with territory and land from another world. As you can see, compared to the other maps, this is the first example of a computer-controlled railway or transport operation, with this small little coastal branch line connecting this port to this city. Other than that, though, this area around here is where we'll be constructing the railway, but as you can see, we can't lay tracks through this area because if we try doing so, it says we're not allowed to build or bulldoze. So, the construction in this area will have to be halted for now. As you can see, we could basically work on this side or on this side. But since this side is the only source of profitable revenue we can get right now, connecting these two grain farms to this bakery or food factory, that's basically where we'll start off. Not to mention, we also have to basically redesign these stations as well. Which, by the way, what is the length of these stations? I bet it's It's 120 meters. A little too small for the trains we're going to be running. So we'll demolish that one there, and demolish this one here, as well as getting rid of the road, of course. There will be a 2-track, 160-meter passenger station right about here, and to carry cargo in as well, we will basically add a set of cargo platforms next to the passenger platforms. We'll place down the tracks here, and all we just need to do is connect these. Desert Adventure. Let's see what this mission has to offer.
Your legendary fellow countryman, Kara Ben Nemzi, crosses your path. What a splendid coincidence. Accompany the fearless adventurer and stand by him with advice and support.
Which we'll basically do, since we're kind gentlemen.
Oh no. Sir David Lindsay, your countryman's English travelling companion, has caught the dreaded Aleppo evil. A horrible sore is running riot on his already sizable nose. A desert herb is said to cure it, but the plant can only be found at very specific altitudes.
Which is basically at 220 and 230 meters. Which, with the contour lines layer tool, we can basically see on where the plants are located. Basically, we have to find them between here and here. Let's see. There we go.
Bad luck in spades. The Henry rifle and the double-barreled bear killer have disappeared. Track down Kara Ben Nemzi's precious weapons and bring them back.
Which is located in this town right here. As you may notice, the only commodities these towns want is food, except for here, which requires crude oil. As you may notice, there's a crude oil well right here, but it requires machinery. And the machinery comes from here, but it requires silver ore. And this mine right here, which produces silver ore, is not operational yet. But other than that, let's get those weapons back.
Holy moly! Your faithful companion Haji Halef Omar was taken captive by a savage desert tribe. Rescue him!
And said tribe is located on the other side of this area where we can't lay our tracks. So, we have to not only deliver food here, but they also require silver ore. But for now, let's basically focus on getting our railway system set up. We'll delete this track here, and since there'll be basically a local passenger train connecting the two towns in this area, as well as an express running from one end to the other, there'll basically be 2 platforms. And to unload commercial cargo here, I'll basically add 1 platform here for cargo trains. And since the station is close to the industrial district, which requires this crude oil, we'll build another platform for the commercial district, on where it requires food. Now, let's see. The bread factory requires basically grain, and there's 2 farms nearby. All we just have to do is grow the food factory from level 1 to level 2. As I stated in a previous episode, the only way an industry will level up is if production, shipment, and transport goes into this area. And once it could go up to 4 levels. The higher the level, the more goods it could be produced, but requires more raw materials to be brought in as well. And see, since there's going to be food going to here, it's going to probably be delivered by road, and this one delivered by road. So the only spots that require food by rail is here and here. So we'll place down a 3-track terminal station here at this food factory, 1 track for bringing in grain by rail, and the other 2 to deliver the loads of bread products out by rail. And as you can see on our roadways, people now are starting to drive automobiles. As the year 1900 reaches, people will start driving automobiles more than driving, well, horse-drawn carriages. Although some of these automobiles don't basically feature in the right period, like this one features more like in the 30s or 40s, but it's the game. I mean, I'm not going to complain about some technical instability or technical know-how in this, but we'll basically put a track there, do that, and then basically curve the track to the right. 155 mile section, going straight, taking a right turn. Go through the tunnel, 60, and then place another station here. We'll place down a street in this here, so passengers can travel either by using the sidewalks or with my trolleys to reach the station. And since this station will basically only be dropping off passengers, since the only commodities needed this city needs is just food, it won't be too much of a hassle just to basically leave the station as it is. And I basically want to make sure that this track is suitable for high-speed operations. Our vehicles are a lot faster than they were in the first few missions of the game, but now that these vehicles are a lot faster, we basically need machines that are capable of going around tighter curves. But not tighter, I meant to say larger curves. And plus, with double track, it will basically make it a lot easier for two trains to pass by each other. Okay, let's see. We'll add a 160-meter station here. There. And then, there we go. Since freight trains don't need basically a whole bunch of speed compared to the passenger trains, we'll basically leave the track leading to that grain farm as it is. Though we might eventually convert having this as a 4-track station, so food trains could travel up to here, thus saving time and bringing in a lot more profit. But, of course, we're just only starting off small. We'll make a curved track here, add a double slip switch, and then we'll add this. Too much curvature, too much curvature. There we go. Forward. Right. Is it there? And that should basically do it. Well, at least until we can start delivering goods trains from here over to this area. Now, let's see. We'll place a cargo station. Why do I have 3 platforms for the right-hand side? Place down a couple of these. Let's see, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll place down 10. And then basically do the opposite here. 10. And for now, we'll basically make 2 platforms to the left and 1 platform to the right. Place it here, right near the bakery, and on this road where no cars will basically be waiting impatiently for the trucks to be unloaded. I'll make it a 12 platform. Place a truck stop here. Place another one here. And at the same time, work on a passenger route. One for the rest for here, one for here, and one for here. And for the trolley line, it'll go past that truck stop, so the trolleys won't have to wait impatiently for the trucks to unload their cargoes into the city. We'll do it here because it will give great access into the industrial district. We'll put one here for the residential, and then another one here for the station. And of course, one as well here for those traveling from this area up there. We'll place down this somewhere. And then we'll place down a truck depot right about here. And, of course, I can't forget about a train as well. Put that there. And put that there. A bit of an odd wide track, but it'll do. And now we need to add signals. We'll put one-way signals on the main line here on the double track. In front of the tunnels. As well as here for the line leading to the bread factory. Why do I keep saying bread factory? It's a food factory. Well, considering the fact that since this game is released, the only commodities that are required of the food factory is just grain. There's no cattle or any slag at all, which was present in the previous game, Transport Fever. We'll also place a signal here, as well as here, here, and here, as well as these signings here. And of course, place one here. Okay, let's see. Alright. We'll call this bus service A. And assign a couple of these steam buses to that service. Then we'll put this as truck service A. Put it at full load at 10 minutes. And unload. And put some of these DMG Constats, which are, well, basically our first ever motorized trucks. Then we'll basically set up another truck service, and since they're basically coming from the same area, we'll put in truck service B-1, and then truck service B-2. I'll put it full load any at 10 minutes. Same for this. And then assign a couple more trucks to the service. That way, the trucks will deliver the loads of food into the respective towns to not only help the towns grow, but make some profit for the construction of the railway. Then we also gotta get started on some freight trains as well. We'll put it on track 1 here, and call this Freight Train A, and fill it up at 10 minutes, and then let's assign some equipment. As you can see, we have 4 locomotives, 2 of which we've seen in the mission in Scotland, but 2 new ones. The PLM 44 Streamlined 440, known as the Big C's, and the Austrian A3/5 460s, which basically is the locomotive that's used on that little branch line. But since this is basically going to be used for goods, we'll basically use this type of tank engine on that branch line. And since these engines are basically German design, let's basically give them a coat of paint that matches their region. We'll put it at 120 capacity, put it at Freight Train A, and of course, I also gotta focus on getting, well, you know, the food delivered to this tribe here. We'll leave it as that, so a train station can be placed there in the near future. We'll place one there. Add that, and add that. We'll basically put this as in pink or purple for that special service. We'll call it Special Delivery. And since they only need about 10 units of food, and since these trucks only have capacity of 5, we'll basically stress assign 2 of them. Now let's see. Ah yes, I also gotta get a local train line running. Since these are passenger trains, well, locals, we'll call it Local Train A. And put them on track 2. And replace this as Kona Station. Same for here. And same here. And I almost forgot, we also gotta get a trolley route placed in. And since it's already orange, we'll just leave it at that. We'll call it trolley service A1, because there will be another trolley service somewhere else on this map. Which will basically, trolley service A2 will follow the same trolley route, but in reverse. Now, let's see. As you noticed, we only now starting to have electric trolleys. The CE22 Shitsties, which are basically trams from Switzerland, will be assigned to this service because of their higher capacity, which will make it useful when there's a lot of people riding these trains. Though I am a little concerned about the profitability of our passenger trains, As you may notice, the road between these two is quite packed with cars, so we might lose a profit on these passenger trains, but it could basically help out those people who don't have the money to purchase an automobile. And while I'm at it, might as well double track the rest of the line here, as, of course, trains will be continuing on from there all the way to Istanbul. Now let's put our equipment into action. So our little tank engine handling the first loads of grain. And it basically bypassed the grain farm in its entirety. But not to worry. A little turnaround and the train will head back to the farm where grain is waiting to be picked up. And with an army of trucks they're heading towards the farm to pick up their first loads of grain. And at the same time, my trolleys are in work, and so is my buses, which will pick up the passengers and take them to where they're needed to go. We'll basically focus on this area later on. But we basically have come to the end of this episode for now. So, if you enjoyed this episode on my Let's Play of Transport Fever 2, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Texas Gaming Industries, and look forward to the next episode coming tomorrow. This is Texas Gaming Industries saying thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!